Do you ever feel like life is just passing you by? That you're constantly pouring into everyone else, but then feel like there's not real clarity around your own sense of purpose, your life, your day to day, and the direction that you're going in? I know exactly what that feels like. It's not because you're not valued, it's not because you don't have a purpose or a calling. It is just simply dealing with overwhelm, anxiety, and not really sure or having clarity around the direction you're going in and how to move forward. So if that is you, I want you to stick around so we can talk exactly about that. In today's video, we are going to talk about why it can feel so hard to get clarity for your life and your purpose, and more importantly, what you can do to break free from that cycle so that when you find yourself encountering these roadblocks, you know exactly how you can overcome them. And then we're going to talk about what those blocks are, how they show up in your life, and a few tips that you can do so that you can start to move forward in your life, start to really live out your purpose, get clear on your calling, and live a vision-filled life. And so if you are ready to stop living your life on autopilot and really get back into having a life that is truly designed by God, spirit-led, and vision-fueled, this is the video for you. So I want you to know is that you did not get here overnight. There have been so many things that have occurred in your life, decisions that you've made, experiences that you've had, mindsets that you have adopted and taken on that has got you to where you are today. So I want you to know that if you're feeling stuck, you didn't just start feeling stuck overnight. You don't go from moving forward, being clear, and things like that to just being stuck. It takes time, and there are usually experiences and decisions and emotions and a lot of things that lead up to you feeling stuck and leading up to you feeling like you don't have any clarity. So I really want to be transparent in that while it took you some time to get to this place, the good thing about it is that you recognize that you are in this place. So since you recognize that you're in this place, that means you're at a good starting point because now you can figure out how you can move forward. But I want you to remember that it took a while for you to get here. And while many people will tell you about some quick tips and how to fix things like overnight and in 5 minutes, I really don't think that is truly possible because it takes some rewiring and some deprogramming and reprogramming of your mindset. But you can actually do it if you give yourself grace and if you give yourself permission, which you totally deserve. So give yourself grace, give yourself permission, and give yourself patience to be able to work through this so that you can get to the point in your life where you feel like you know the path that you're on and you're able to move forward. So one of the things I want to share with you is that you have to understand truly where are these blocks coming from. It's different from everybody. You're going to have various experiences, life experiences and emotions and things you've heard, things people have said to you. There's so many things that go into how you got here. But I think regardless of what transpired in your life that brought you here today, I think we can really uncover understanding what those blocks truly are and how those blocks can show up in your life. I think there are some common threads when it comes to how you got to this place. So one of the reasons why you may feel blocked is that there is a lack of spiritual connection. And I think this is usually one of the main things or the main reasons why we get to feel like we're blocked and not clear in the direction that we need to go in. When you feel disconnected, and I want to emphasize it is a feeling, but we have to recognize that these feelings do play on our emotions and can make us feel very vulnerable and feel like we are struggling more than what we truly are. But nevertheless, is that when you feel like you have this spiritual disconnection from God, it causes you to struggle to really see and understand and really embrace God's plan that He has for you. Your vision can become very clouded. Your thoughts can become very clouded. One of the ways it can show up is that you look like you have it all together. You're doing all of the things and you're staying busy and feeling like you're productive, but really truly on the inside, it is just like total discombobulation. And it happens to many of us because you're so busy. And I know that you really want to be able to have everything go the way it's supposed to go. You're trying to maintain that control over as much as you can because of those type A personalities. Just you want to have things go right. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I think that when we obsess with it, and when we start to really allow our lives to get consumed by that, we start to focus more on that than actually knowing that we are spiritual beings and that we need to connect with our Father in heaven. We need that spiritual connection so that we can have not only just the stability in our emotions, but we need that spiritual connection so that we can be guided. When you are connected to God, it is going to make a huge difference in your life and how you're moving and how you're carrying out your life calling and your purpose, because you know that you are being led. But when you feel like you don't have that connection, you're not going to feel like you're being led. And in order to have that peace of mind and to know that you're going in the right direction, you have to trust that God is leading you. The next one is mental overload and overwhelm. Just the mental clutter. You can easily feel stuck because your mind is constantly overwhelmed and filled with all of the to-dos that you have going on in your life, whether it's today, tomorrow, this week, next week, and you're constantly planning. And you know, if you watch any of my videos, I love to plan. I'm a planner too, and I love to have all of the things written out and laid out. When you allow those to-dos to consume you and you don't have a system in place where you can manage those things, then that mental clutter is going to cloud your thinking. So the third common pattern that I see is not living your life by design, but instead living your life by default. So that means that you are more reactive versus being proactive and really just taking things as they come. And that can really be overwhelming because then you feel like you don't matter. You might feel like there's no sense of purpose or value in your life because you're just trying to fight fires all day. You're dealing with your kids and you're dealing, whatever they have going on. You have your spouse and you have those things going on. You have you and you have those things going on. Your work, your job, your business, and all of the things. And when you're just dealing with them as they come and not have a system or something in place that can help you manage how you are going to assist others in their lives while also still caring for yourself, you're going to feel like that there's just this massive weight on you all the time. And I know that living like that, feeling like there's just this heavy weight on you, and when you feel like there's no end to all of the things that are constantly coming at you, you're going to think that you never get a chance to breathe, you don't get a chance to rest, and you might feel like no one really cares about whether you are tired or whether you're energized, whether you're feeling well or whether you're getting sick. You just know that you have to keep going on and on and on. If you are constantly just dealing with things as they come and not preparing yourself for the day or have some type of system in place where you are doing something, whether it is at night, you're doing something in the morning, whatever time of the day works best for you. But if you're not doing something that is going to help you be more proactive in your own life so that you can go through your day doing the things that you need to do, doing the things that are going to be healthy for you and help you be able to be intentional and purpose driven throughout your day, is going to feel like you're just doing things by default. And that also means that you're not making the best decisions. You're just reacting to what comes your way. But when you are being proactive, when you are preparing, then you're taking the time to make the actual decisions that are needed for that day. You've already thought about it. You have a plan. You've prepared. You have certain things written out. And so that's why I always encourage to use a planner to help you know what to do now, what to do next, what you can do later. So if you're living by default, that could definitely be one of the reasons why you're feeling stuck. Another one I think goes overlooked a lot, and that is eating right and taking care of your body. So poor nutrition, not moving, and all of those things can really add to you not having the clarity that you want. Your body is the temple. Your body is a temple of God and He dwells there. So you want to take care of your body, proper nutrition, and prioritizing your rest is truly important. So that means that you should be thinking about some of the things that you have eaten. Do you have a good diet? Are you getting a nutrient dense diet? Is your diet clean? If you have a diet that is filled with carbohydrates and sugars and processed foods, and I'll even go as far to say as GMO foods and things like that, it's not really going to help you get the clarity that you need. So just as much as you need the word of God to be able to help clean your spirit, you have to eat clean foods so that your body can be clean as well. It will contribute to whether you're feeling energized throughout the day, or if you feel like you have to constantly drink coffee, Coke, or some type of caffeinated soda throughout the day. So these are the type of common things that I see that contribute to you being stuck and overwhelmed. You know, the enemy wants you to be consumed by overwhelm. He wants you to be consumed by distraction. He wants you to be consumed by anxiety. He wants you to be consumed by confusion. He wants these things to just cloud your mind so much that you just almost just snap. But that's not what I want for you. You don't want that for you. What are some things that you can have to help you manage that? Because at the end of the day, you want to know that for yourself, you did a good job. You want to be able to pat yourself on the back, not looking for recognition from other people, but knowing that you're doing what God has called you to do. You're doing it with a grateful heart. You are doing it with the level of excellence that you desire and what He desires from you, because you know that it's pleasing to Him. So how you can actually break this cycle of being stuck and going forward. Well, one of the things that I want to share with you, and this is something that I am practicing all the time, when I feel like I'm stuck or just unclear, I remind myself that I am not stuck. Because I'm a child of God, because I know who I am, I remind myself I am never stuck. You know that I'm big on affirmations. I really believe in speaking those things that are not as though they are. So when I find that I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed, if I feel like I'm not sure, I remind myself that I am never stuck. And I know that this is true, and I stand on that with a lot of conviction, is because that's what God's word says. But you have to declare that and have to believe that for yourself. The Bible says that if you acknowledge Him in all your ways, He's going to direct your path. If you acknowledge Him in whatever that matter is, He's going to direct you. He's going to direct your path. He's not going to leave you stagnant. He's not going to leave you going in circles. He's going to reveal the path to you. How that path may be revealed to you can look different for you. And that's why having that spiritual connection, being connected, reading and praying, and just having that daily fellowship with God is so important, because you'll be able to hear or know what it is that He's trying to show you, what He's trying to open up your mind to. So trust that. Know that He's going to direct your path. So for me, I believe that if I know that God has directed my path, I can't claim that I'm stuck at the same time, because those two things just don't go together. And we have to be consistent with the things that we are speaking out of our mouth. So I know that because He's directed me, I am never stuck. I have to repeat that to yourself. I am not stuck. I am moving forward. I want to just give you a couple of ways that how these things can actually show up. How do they manifest itself in your life, in real life? What is it that you might be experiencing that leads to you feeling these types of blocks? So if you are waking up and you feel drained, you feel unmotivated, you feel like you just want to stay in the bed because you're not looking forward to the day, you don't want to deal with the day or the people, that could be an indication that that's some type of block, and that's how it's showing up in your life. Another way it's showing up in your life is you are constantly overthinking, and it's just this state of being worried, overthinking, thinking about the things you have to do, thinking about the things that you have not done, the unfinished tasks, those boxes that you have yet to check off on your planner, on your calendar, or whatever. You're constantly focused on the to-dos, and it is really just wreaking havoc on your mind. So when you feel like you're constantly worried about what it is that you have to do, that could be a way a block is showing up. This also showed up for our friend and sister in the Bible, Martha. The story of Mary and Martha, where Mary decided that she was going to sit at Jesus' feet and learn about him and worship him, where Martha, she was very concerned about all of the things that they needed to do because they were hosting a dinner. But in that story, Jesus told Martha that Mary chose to do the better thing. We've all been Martha before. It happens, but there are things that you can do about it. So if you feel like you're that Martha, I want you to kind of pause and take a moment and say, okay, let me just stop worrying about it. Because the Bible also says, don't be anxious for anything, but you have to be grateful. You need to be grateful for everything and be anxious for nothing, versus focusing on all of those unfinished tasks and allowing yourself to be constantly worried and consumed with what it is that you haven't done. The next one is a big one because as women, this can come from all sorts of things. And this is feeling emotional, a little bit snappy, just kind of biting. There's no reason for you to be snappy except you're just snappy. Then maybe that could be a sign of how a block is showing up. Because when you are blocked, when you feel stuck, it does create a frustration in your life. You're going to feel frustrated. And when that frustration is bottled up and you're not able to deal with it, and you're not taking care of yourself, and you're not doing the things that you need to do in order to deal with that frustration, then it's going to come out in other ways. And it could cause you maybe to respond in ways maybe you should not be responding. So if you're feeling snappy, irritable, a little bit emotional, then that could be a sign of you being blocked and not really getting to the root of it. The next one is feeling disconnected from purpose and passion. If you feel like that the things that you're doing for everybody, whether it's on your job, as a parent, as a wife, as a mom, a daughter, a sister, a caregiver, whatever role you have, when you feel like this is it, I'm just doing everything for everybody and nobody else cares, then there's this sense of disconnect from purpose and passion. And that also leads to frustration. You also find that you're not doing anything that makes you happy. You've put all of those joy projects, those passion projects, or just simple things in life that you like to do, like go buy yourself a bouquet of flowers rather than waiting for somebody to give it to you, or treating yourself to your favorite treat, buying yourself a pair of new pajamas, or watching a TV show, buying a book that you want to read. I don't know, whatever that thing is. But when you're not really pouring into yourself and you're giving yourself to everyone else and feeling like your need to have happiness and joy and experience some level of excitement and energy in your life is not important or should not be poured into, then that could also be a sign of how these blocks are showing up in your life. The next one is just feeling spiritually dry. Now, we all go through moments of drought. I think in our spiritual walk, we are not always excited, and we really want to have an abundant life, and we want to have a life that's filled with fervency and passion and excitement and all of those things that really makes you feel alive. But when you have that spiritual dryness, like things are just becoming more of going through the motions, maybe you're going to church, you're going to Bible study, but you're not really enjoying it. Or maybe you're not going to church, you're not going to Bible study. That can lead to some level of spiritual dryness. So you may have found that at one point you were really super excited to do things in the ministry and participate and help out with things. But then now you're like, you don't want to really do it. And so I think that this can also be an indication of how a block may be showing up, because it's really just about when you feel stuck, you don't know where you should be lending your energies to. The only thing you're lending your energy to is the things that you absolutely have to do. So you are just going through those motions. You're doing the things because they need to be done. But aside from that, you just feel like you're just this task rabbit that's just constantly on, just going through every day, and it's all the same. And life starts to feel like this broken record. But You don't have to live a life like that. If you can uncover the source of what is causing you to feel that way, then you'll be able to know how you can address it so that you can have a solution that truly works for you. And then just going through this cycle of busyness and unfulfillment. You are constantly busy because there's this need to always be involved, need to always be doing something to feel like you're valued, yet you don't feel fulfilled. And there's always just this play on that, I think, where you kind of compensate for the lack of feeling valued and the lack of fulfillment. So then as long as you keep doing, then this is filling that void. But the thing is, there's always going to be the void. So you may be hard on yourself. There's times if you feel like you've done many things, but then you're not taking the time to pause, congratulate yourself. You're not taking the time to realize that you have done absolutely a lot of things, and you should reward yourself for just saying, you know what, I did enough. That's good enough. And I'm happy with that. Like, you don't have to walk around feeling inadequate or thinking that you just have to do one more thing and it's going to make a difference. That is just a way of compensating for what it is that you truly desire. And that is clarity and getting unstuck versus just doing more of the same. If you see yourself in any of these, then I want you to know that there are ways that you can overcome this. And don't be hard on yourself. Don't beat up on yourself. Give yourself love and give yourself grace. But more so, recognize that God is giving you grace as well, because we cannot really do anything well or excellent in and of ourselves. We need Him for absolutely everything. If you are trying to fix this and figure things out and really focus on you and you alone without understanding that you need God a part of the equation, you need Him to help you, you need Him to strengthen you, but also ask Him to help you understand where you need to focus your energy. Because I can give you all of these tips and say, try this and try that, but it really takes for you being truly honest with yourself, being honest with yourself in prayer, because I know that there are times people are not honest in prayer. That is unfortunate because God knows everything, but being honest with yourself in prayer that this is where I am. God will meet you where you are. If He met Paul where he was on the road to Damascus as he was going out to kill Christians, if God can meet Paul where he was, He can certainly meet you where you are. So recognize where you are. Also make a decision that you're not going to stay there. So that leads me to how you can actually come from there to getting to a better place. And that is knowing how you can move forward and get unstuck. The first one is reconnect with God through very simple, intentional moments. Whether you have time for 30 minutes, 1 hour prayer, whatever that is for you, the thing is to be intentional and recognize that you can have this connection with God throughout your day. And instead of feeling the pressure to have these long, structured, quiet time, don't put the pressure on yourself to do that, because then you'll feel like, oh, I didn't do it, so, I didn't do a good job today. You can really just build prayer into your day just throughout the day. That could be while you're getting dressed in the morning, while you're doing your hygiene. It could be while you're making your coffee or your tea, or helping your kids get ready for school if they still need your help. There's so many ways that you can start to rebuild your connection to God without the stress and the pressure of feeling like you have to do it a certain way for a certain time. If you want to write down your prayers and things like that, I love doing that. So if you write down your prayers, that's another way. If you spend time journaling, you can really just change how your day is going to go. So the second way that you can begin to turn things around for your life is to just start doing brain dumps. Start getting those things out of your head. Your mind can only contain and manage and catalog so much. So if you're doing a brain dump, this is going to help free up the mental space in your head so that you have the ability to think clearer and you can make decisions about things and be less reactive. When you brain dump, it is really getting those things out of your head. And it's not that you're going to do every single thing on your brain dump list. The intent of the brain dump is not to say I have to do it all, because if you look at your entire brain dump list, you might get overwhelmed again. But when you approach doing a brain dump with, I'm just giving my headspace the space that it needs so it can think, so that I can go through the day, that is really going to help you. You're going to feel so much better because it's like taking a load off. So that is a really great way to help you get unstuck, because you want to be able to think clearly. So the third tip is to just nourish your body and your mind for energy and clarity. Giving yourself nutrient dense foods, having a proper diet. If you are someone who may be struggling with their diet, start to take small steps towards improving your diet. You're going to see some tremendous benefits. And that can also include walking, get that sunlight, the vitamin D in. That really also makes a difference in how you feel about your day, your overall energy. And then you're going to recognize that there was a big part of you that you were denying or depriving for quite a while. And when you start to get back to you, you're going to realize just how much of you truly missed. So start to nourish your body for energy and clarity. Your mind, heart, soul, body, spirit will thank you. And the fourth way that you can actually turn things around is to give yourself permission and grace to hit the reset button. This one can be really hard because we tend to beat up on ourselves way too much. You are allowed to hit the reset button as many times as you need to. We have a God who is patient, he's compassionate, and he loves us. And so he is going to be patient with us. And he knows that we're going to make mistakes. He knows that we're going to mess up and do things that we shouldn't do and beat ourselves up when we shouldn't and be hard on ourselves when we should not be. He knows we're going to struggle with these things, but we can always hit the reset button. We don't have to stay where we are. He is a forgiving God. So you also have to forgive yourself. And sometimes that forgiveness is just giving yourself the ability to hit the reset button, to say it's okay if I fell down. It doesn't matter how many times you fall down, you get back up again. It doesn't matter how many times you mess up, you start over again. If you feel like you don't deserve it, I want you to know that you do. If you feel like you don't have the permission to hit the reset button because you've hit it so many times, you can just say, I am starting over, and you're going to start fresh. And ask God when you're doing that, if you feel like that's something that you need to do, ask God to refresh you in this new season, refresh you on the path that you're going in. Ask him to refresh you, to revive you, to restore you, to equip you with what it is that you need. Ask him to give you that breath of fresh air and inspiration that you need, that is going to start to wake things up in you again. Be honest with what it is that you need and know that he can help you move on from that place. You don't have to stay there. The Bible says to don't be conformed to this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, meaning your mind has to constantly be renewed. It has to be refreshed all the time, because we have something that we want to do, and that is fulfill God's will, fulfill his plan, his purpose for us. And so in order to do that, we're going to constantly need to be refreshed, because it's a journey. It's not a race. And with God's help, you can do it, and you can overcome all of these things that are trying to hinder you. And I want to remind you that God has already fought the battle for you. And you have something that you can always claim, no matter how you feel. You can always claim that you have victory, because victory is a spiritual reward that God has given to us. You are an overcomer in this. You are more than a conqueror in this, and you can start over. And knowing that God is going to be there with you, you start over. And most of all, I would say is when you ask to don't have any strings attached. We have so many strings attached to what it is that we want, and it creates such a level of anxiety in our lives. You don't need. You ask God with the expectation that He's going to do what His word says, and that's all. We have to approach Him with the desires of our heart and the things that we want to ask Him about. But then once we give Him that question, once we give Him our heart's desires, once we tell Him this is what we want and this is how we're feeling and this is what we're hoping for, we have to detach the strings from all of that and just stand in expectation, and not an expectation that God is going to do exactly what you said, because God is in control. He is not our puppet. But when we ask Him for things, then we have to just then let it go and trust Him. Wait in expectation that He's going to answer, but we wait in expectation knowing that whatever it is, that it's for your good. We're not going to be so attached to an outcome that you are struggling and stressing and having anxiety and feeling depressed because you still don't know. Oh, I asked God to give me clarity, a month ago, and He still hasn't answered yet, and I'm struggling, and so maybe He's not listening. That is a lie from the enemy. I never want you to believe that God is not listening. He has ears. He is a living God, and He can hear you. You have to let go of the attachment to the outcome. He will answer, He will guide, He will lead, He will protect, He will give you understanding, He's going to give you peace, He's going to give you those things, okay? So don't have this attachment that is going to create anxiety in your life when you do start over, because there are times when you start over and then you think, well, I started over and it didn't go the way it was supposed to go, so I'm tired of starting over, and you just give up. I don't want you to get caught in that cycle either. It's a process to starting over because He's trying to get you to a place. It truly doesn't matter how many times you have to hit the reset button. I think you just need to know you have to hit the reset button. Life does get busy. Our minds get cluttered. Our to-do lists get long. Our schedules get super busy, and life can be extremely demanding. But, and there's always a but, we have grace, we have mercy, we have God's help. We're not walking this road alone. And remember that you don't have to have it all figured out in a day. You just need to see the steps that are in front of you, okay? And remember to give yourself rest. Remember to give yourself the energy and the nutrition and the reset that you need so that you can begin to move forward. There's a scripture in the Bible. It's in Lamentations, chapter 3, verse 22. And it says that it is because of the Lord's mercy that we are not consumed. Not because you were able to do it all, not because you were able to have everything go as planned. It's not because of any of those things. It is only because of God's mercy that you are not consumed. I hope that this was helpful and gave you something to think about so that you can truly live a life of moving forward, having clarity, and really having a life that is pleasing to God. Fulfill your life calling, your purpose, and do what you know you have been called to do. And if you need support, if you need help or an assist on how you can do that, you all know I have the If You Can Believe Vision Journal. This is a journal that I put together, and it helps you to get focused on your vision so that you can live a vision-filled life in your everyday, focusing on gratitude and your intentions and your affirmations. So you can always find this journal right there on Amazon. The link is in the description below. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hit the subscribe button, like this video. Please leave a comment in the section if any of these tips have resonated with you. And until the next video, I will see you again. Take care.